Yo, what's up YouTube? It's YT. Wake 'em up, back at it again with another video. We talking about greedflation, the difference between inflation and greedflation, aka corporate greed. This one is a more educational video, right? We gonna educate ourselves because you know the term inflation it's been thrown around regularly, loosely, but in actuality, a lot of this is greedflation or corporate greed, right? So if y'all watch to the end, we're gonna do an in-depth breakdown. I need everybody to thumbs up this video so YouTube can push this content out so we continue to grow. And we've been growing something crazy, so I appreciate y'all. And at the same time, I need everybody to smash the subscribe button. With that said, man, it's YT. For those that don't know, let's get into it.
The main reason prices are so damn high when you go to the store is greedflation. Indiana, give me 90 seconds and I'll explain greedflation. When underlying costs rise, corporations pass their business costs onto consumers. That causes inflation. But then when corporations use that inflation as an excuse to jack up their prices and their profits, that is greedflation. Let me give you an example. Two companies control almost all of the US diaper market. Now, diaper prices have gone up 30% since 2019. The rise was mostly because of an increase in wood pulp, a major component of diapers. And wood pulp prices went up until January of 2023 when the prices for wood pulp dropped. But guess what didn't drop? Diaper prices. Even though the prices to make diapers went down, diapers didn't get any cheaper at the store. Instead, executives at both companies bragged about their increased profits. They flat out said on earnings calls that the decreased underlying cost to make the diapers is the major reason that their profits increased. So that makes you feel the pain of inflation while they feel the joy of increased profits. That is greedflation.
They tell us to go to school, go to college, do 4 to 8 years in college. And when I get out, I try to go and work for a great company. And it's like, this is how you treat us? You don't give me a water break? But greed is like terrible. There's people out here struggling for real, y'all. Everybody's tired. It's 2024. There's no reason why you shouldn't want to pay your workers. And if you take care of your employees will take care of you. I don't understand why the fight has to be this hard. We're going to keep fighting and we're going to win because I'm a fighter. And anything that I do, trust me, I win.
You know what's crazy? I never seen so many people fed up with life. People are getting tired of the same daily routine repeatedly without being able to get ahead, right? I never seen this before until now. It's people physically crying. It's people all over the internet. You could feel it in the air. Things have changed. A lot of people are just mad, angry, upset. People you cross on a day-to-day basis, you can see it on their face, and you can feel it in the atmosphere. I'm not the only one that's feeling it. I can't be the only one that's feeling it. You can just tell that something is off, and that people are depressed, stressed, miserable, you know, damn near close to the edge. Please don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. That's how people feeling right now. That should be a brand new song that come out. They might as well re-release that. That'll appeal to everybody right now.
One thing about me, I hate corporate. Please look at this. Forever powerful. Oh, it's $5.75. Oh, hey Ashton, go put up the sales price. Oh, so we're gonna put it on 6, and it's on sale for $5.75.
And I'm not gonna lie, as somebody that had a clothing brand and somebody that had a Shopify store, this is a common practice for e-commerce. You know, you'll say it's a deal, but in actuality, that's just the selling price for real. You might say the price was $50, now it's $25. That's just the price you're selling it for. That's a marketing tactic. If you didn't know, now you know. If you don't know, now you know, you know.
Here's the thing that you learn when you go up against big corporations and big lawsuits where there's a lot of money on the line and a lot to lose for the company. And I know this sounds cliche, and I feel like everyone already knows this, but big companies, big corporations, they do not give a crap about you and me. They don't care about us. They don't care about our safety. They don't care about our well-being. They care about money. They care about profits. They care about revenue. That's it. You want to take this up with me? Let's argue it. I don't care what anybody says. I've seen it time and time and time again in every case I have. And the beautiful thing about our country, there's a lot wrong with it, but there's also a lot right with it. One of the most beautiful things is that when you go in front of a jury, the company can't pull any quick ones. They can't pull any tricks up their sleeve. They're right there, exposed out in the open. So there's really nowhere for them to run and hide.
Y'all remember during the pandemic, everybody was overly charging for hand sanitizer, tissue, what else was it? Like face masks even. It was a tax on them. And when I say a tax, I mean they were overly charging everybody. That was corporate greed. People were seizing the opportunity to benefit from what was currently taking place. Y'all know damn well them face masks didn't cost that much. Everybody knew the price of hand sanitizer. But for the fact that you couldn't get it no more, they were taking advantage of people's needs for real. I understand from a business perspective, supply and demand, right? It was limited supply. Everybody was buying it up, but the demand was high. So the price was high. But at the same time, the government had to make regulations for that and say that, no, you can't price gouge. They didn't say that's corporate greed exactly, but that's what that was. But then come everything else, there's no rules, no regulations on nothing. You can participate in corporate greed all you want freely. We're seeing that on a day-to-day basis. These items don't have to cost that much. Now, we could talk about, wood when people were trying to build houses and the cost of labor went up. That was out of their control. So they had to raise prices. They had to raise prices on the cost of a new build due to the fact that the supplies cost more. You see what I'm saying? That made sense. But everything else doesn't make sense. And these business owners, they're just greedy. That's what we're seeing right now. They're seizing the moment to get rich. And we're going to continue to see this throughout the Great Reset. That's really what the Great Reset is. All of the elites and all of the successful people that control the masses and control the world being greedy. They want it all.
Okay, what is inflation and what is corporate greed? Okay, inflation is when the cost of doing something like making a product goes up. Now, why does the cost of making a product go up? Cost of materials. If you have a drought, if you have fires, if you have a war that stops your production, your raw materials. If, believe it or not, if you have too good an economy, sometimes it can get what's called an inflationary spiral. You have people working, you have salaries going up. Salaries going up, capitalism being as it is, you charge more prices for the same products. People pay it. People pay, people pay, people pay, and the more people pay, the more corporations will increase the price. Now, what has been happening since 2020 is corporate greed, not inflation. In my opinion, because it's all opinion on this app, unless you get somebody who's an economist, and I would welcome an economist to speak to me about this. But corporate greed is when you increase prices, okay? And you make a crap ton of money without necessarily increasing your sales. You're making money on the same exact thing that you sold before without increasing the number of products that you're selling. You just increase the price without having increased the raw materials, without having an increase in what you have to pay people.
A new think tank report claims that inflation issues were driven largely by corporate greed. The report says resounding evidence shows companies continue to keep prices high even as their inflationary costs drop. The report compiled by the Progressive Groundwork Collective think tank found corporate profits accounted for about 50% of inflation during last year's second and third quarters. Profits drove just 11% of price growth in the 40 years prior to the pandemic, according to the report. Prices for consumers rose by 3.4% over the past year, but input costs for producers increased by just 1%, according to the author's calculations, which was based on data from the Bureau of Economic Analysis and National Income and Products accounts. There is some good news. The Biden administration has taken steps to strengthen supply chains. Joe Biden recently called on corporations to stop gouging consumers as input costs fall. Picante and Weber called for stronger action, pointing to other nations with forms of price control in place. All I have to say is, we been knew that. I mean, we could have told them that. The people who work, who get gouged every day, we see the rising cost of inflation. Groceries cost like $300 for 2 weeks of groceries when they used to cost like $100. Obviously, we can feel it in our pockets that it's going up, but our pay ain't going up. It's not coinciding, and it's not working out, and the math is not mathing. So all I want to know is, What is going to be done about this? These greedy companies need to be held accountable. They can't sit here and hoard the wealth of the world and while they let everyone else starve.
This is what's actually killing our economy right now, and nobody's talking about it. A new study just found that corporate profits are causing 53% of the inflation we have right now. So all these high prices that we've been dealing with could have been prevented if corporations weren't gouging us. See, here's what happened. During the pandemic, everybody's prices went up, right? Basically, it cost more to make stuff, so we had to pay more when we bought it. But then those prices started coming down, and that's where things get interesting. See, this darker line is producer prices, and those dropped a lot faster than consumer price. And now you can see we've kind of leveled out here, but there's this big gap between the two. That gap is corporate profits, massive, record-setting corporate profits. See, their prices are only going up 1% a year right now, and ours are going up 3.4%. That means they've been tacking on profits to take advantage of the pandemic, i.e. price gouging on a massive scale. And it's so bad, it's so entrenched now that even the Federal Reserve is getting involved. See, they're not just keeping our prices high when we go to Walmart. What they've done is they've artificially kept the inflation rate higher than it should be. See, the Federal Reserve has been keeping their interest rates high in order to keep inflation low. Those interest rates affect things like car loans, credit cards, mortgages, everything gets more expensive. So all of these problems we have right now, like record-setting prices, record low savings, insanely high debt, a totally screwed up housing market, all of that at this point is due to corporate greed and could have been prevented a long time ago. But don't expect Trump or Biden or anybody to do anything other than point fingers at each other rather than at the corporations that have actually caused the problem.
So listen, if you made it to the end, comment END in all caps. I just want to see something. And now, if you made it to the end, you got the right to comment. How do you feel about corporate greed versus inflation? What's some items that you feel like shouldn't cost what they cost right now when it's just business owners being greedy? That's really what I want to know. Y'all know each video I got a topic that I want y'all to specifically comment on. Y'all can comment everything else what y'all think, but specifically, what do you think? What do you think about corporate greed, and what items do you feel like they're just being greedy on? You know damn well it don't cost that much for this item, but you charging it right now. That's what I want to know, man. I appreciate y'all watching. It's YT Wake 'em Up. Back at it again with another banger, and I'm out.